So practically, one of the best pieces of advice I got from my mentor here, actually, he has this thing he does called me time, we time, us time. Mm-hmm. And that has changed our marriage for the better. Yeah. So highly recommend. It's been a great practice for us. So me time means...
Well, hey, friends, welcome to this week's episode of The Boundless Show. This is Lisa Anderson here with you. Okay, here we are for our roundtable. We are going to talk about that transition in dating, engagement into marriage, and how friendships change, if in fact they do. So we have got, first of all, I'll introduce Lauren, our summer intern. Hi. Hey, Lauren.
Hi.
It is so good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, Lauren literally got engaged the day before she started her internship with us, which is good, and it's still held. So that's encouraging.
Yes,
still
thankfully.
Engaged.
Yep,
yeah,
going strong.
Well, to find out if that's actually true and to get his perspective, we also have Brock, her fiance, here. Brock, good to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Super fun to have you both at the table. And because he's now an old married man, we're bringing in Emerson to the table. Good to have you back, Emerson.
Glad to be here.
Okay, and remind us how long you've been married now.
2 years.
2 years?
Yeah, as of a couple weeks ago.
I can't even believe it. I feel like that was last summer.
Yeah,
y'all got
feels
married.
that way too.
Okay, that's really wild. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump in, because I think this is where it's funny. Like, I feel like I talk to married people who kind of look back on dating and engagement and say, oh, we should have done a few things differently, or now we're married and all we do is sit at home, or it's always this rueful, like, what happened to our lives and why do we not have friends, or all this kind of stuff. But there's a lot of transition that takes place in dating and engagement in particular, and moving into marriage. So let's start with the whole dating phase and dating. Was there and maybe this comes about like as you start dating more seriously, but were there changes in your friendships even then? What just happened naturally, and what did you kind of have to buck the trends or do differently? Emerson, why don't you start us off?
Yeah. Well, apart from the obvious of you spend more time with the person you're dating.
Right.
And potentially less time with your friends. My wife and I, we were lucky enough in that our friends groups were very integrated. Okay. And so our time with friends didn't necessarily go down. Mm-hmm. It actually kind of somewhat remained the same. And one of the cool things of that was when we started dating, we didn't have to like announce that we were dating. People just kind of picked up on it over time. Yep. And people started asking me, even before I asked her to start dating, or to be my girlfriend, I guess at the time. It feels like so long ago. Yeah. They're prompting me like, hey, I noticed the way you guys look at each other. I noticed the way you guys hang out with each other. Even providing wisdom and advice on like, hey, maybe this is a little too close. You guys should probably start dating. Mm-hmm. But apart from the obvious of like spending more time together, once we started dating, our friendships actually got a lot closer, because now the couples wanted to go on couples dates, and we got to do more things in a relationship together with those friends. Yes, we had to be more intentional about inviting our single friends to come do stuff with us and not make it awkward, like kissing and PDA and stuff around them. But and that
it's always awkward, Emerson. It
is always awkward.
Okay.
But yeah, apart from those minor changes, really not a whole lot changed.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and I think you two were unique in that you've known each other for a long time, and so it was really an interesting, almost. I mean, not like always literally growing up together, but you really did know each other for a long time. And
we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another unique aspect of dating Ruth, who became my wife, was that she had a son. And so I had to be especially intentional with pursuing her in a dating relationship, because that meant I was also pursuing her son. Yeah. Which also affects friendships, because it's like, it's not just the two of you. You have to figure out, okay, what are we going to do with our son and with, our someday son. Yeah. So that's a lot. Yeah. That plays into it. All right. Lauren and Brock, talk about what this looked like. Did y'all date anyone prior to each other? You met in college, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So go ahead and speak into that a little bit about what this looked like before and after.
Yeah, so we started dating in college. We knew each other like the very first day of college, and then I had soccer, and so I was kind of away for like a semester or so. So we officially started dating like in May after our freshman year. Oh, okay. So that was kind of interesting, like what you were saying, Emerson, that like you guys kind of knew each other for a while. Like I'm from Colorado. We went to school together in Indiana. So we kind of got like, at least for me, we kind of got thrown into the new situation, new environment, got to meet new friends and stuff. So I think that was really nice that we had that like year-ish before we actually started dating, that we could kind of get a good friendship groundwork kind of in. So
you kind of had a year to just scam on her and figure out
get friends first as opposed to girlfriends first. So
test out his options.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, Lauren, how about you?
Yeah, so I think that our freshman year, we had a lot of, at our school, there's a lot of dating that goes on. So it was kind of helpful almost to see other relationships play out that first year and see how are other people prioritizing their time. Do I want to like only be seen with my boyfriend when I'm around campus? Or like, how do I want to, just invest in my friendships and my school and this unique experience that I'm in right now, while also investing in a really important relationship in my life. So I think it was helpful for me to see others kind of walk through that first year, and then also have close friends who started dating at the beginning of freshman year kind of walk through that and talk to them and learn from them on how they prioritize friendships and what they wish they did differently and stuff like that.
Okay. So it's interesting because Brock, you said obviously you went from Colorado to Indiana to go to school. So you were just starting from scratch. Lauren, I know you went away to school, but same state at least. So did you guys think, I mean, even having met one another pretty early on, did you really try to say, okay, I need guy friends, I need girlfriends? Because even on breaks and summers, it's not like you were just going to be in the same town necessarily. So what did it look like to make sure that you also had your people and weren't just gazing into one another's eyes the whole time?
Yeah, so we did meet the first weekend of college, but we didn't really become friends or start being interested in one another until like later in second semester. So we both had the opportunity to kind of have a groundwork of friendships and investing in, like for me, that was investing in my floor and the girls I was living with. And then for him, it was the same and the people on the soccer team. So we were fortunate enough to have that first year, not really with the idea of dating one another, to invest in those relationships and have good friendships at school before we jumped into that relationship.
Yeah, that's good. Did you, Brock, when you came back home, obviously you had friends from previously, probably from high school and just from growing up and stuff. Did you reconnect with those people, or was it kind of like, I'm in college now, I've got a whole new crew?
Yeah, it was a select few that I kind of, it was an active choice, obviously, because when you're 1,000 miles away, you kind of have to not really pick and choose, but it just kind of nature of you're not really hanging out anymore, and it's kind of hard to stay connected.
Okay.
But yeah, I was able to stay close with some guys, and then one of them is going to be a groomsman at our wedding. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Lisa, you're touching on a really important topic, though, is that community with brothers, or if you're a man, and sisters, if you're a girl, to have that solid community before you enter into marriage.
Right.
Even well into your marriage, that will bless your marriage so much. When inevitably you hit a bump in the road and old struggles come up or tragedy strikes, you can go back to that brother for prayer and for counsel and for wisdom and advice, and vice versa for the ladies, and go back to that sister for wisdom and advice. And that's so crucial. I'd highly recommend for anyone single listening is build that beautiful foundational friendship, fellowship with other believers, alongside, beforehand, if you can, with other brothers, with other sisters, and that'll just build up your marriage once it happens.
Well, and I think it's so necessary because whether you're dating or engaged or married, I see this especially, like I was alluding to on the front end, in married people, that they kind of get so caught up in each other and in being a couple and eventually doing marriage. And we even talk here at Focus on the Family about the danger of like administrating your marriage, and all of a sudden it just becomes, you're no longer dating the person or whatever. But so many couples try to, like, she tries to just make him another girlfriend or be like, oh, you're going to be my best bud. And then it's almost to the exclusivity of them having friendships apart from one another. And that could get pretty unhealthy pretty quickly. I know you said, Emerson, so speak to this a little bit about how you had a mutual group of friends, but what have you had to do even in marriage to prioritize doing things with your brothers in Christ, with other guys, so that it's not just you and Ruth hanging out all the time talking about I don't know, rom-coms or whatever. Yeah.
That's not a frequent conversation. Praise God.
Which is funny because I'm going to tell on Emerson because I actually have his wife Ruth as one of my mentees. And I know for a fact that she talks about like maybe sometimes getting into some gaming, which she's into. And then she has to say, can we do something different? So apparently they have to check each other on these things. Yeah. Okay. Sorry for that rebuke, public rebuke. But no, talk about what you do. How do you guys set up your time so that you ensure that you're getting time apart from each other with friends?
Yes. So practically, one of the best pieces of advice I got from my mentor here, actually, Jeremy Keaton, head of counseling here, awesome guy. He has this thing he does called me time, we time, us time. And that has changed our marriage for the better. I think each week, if we can, sometimes it's each month because of our schedules, but try to incorporate me time, we time, and us time. So me time means however I want to spend that time to recharge, to get what I need. For her as well, she likes to read. She's got this little e-reader, Kobo, that I bought her. She needs that me time. I'm an extrovert, so my me time often is going off and being with those friends. We time is for her and me to go and be with other friends as well. So she and I can then go as a couple to be with other groups of friends, with other couples and stuff like that, for us together to go out. And then us time, it's just her and me. It's me pouring into her. It's her pouring into me. It's our sacred prayer time every night. It's us going on dates and stuff like that. So as much as you can, try to have me time, we time, and us time, if you can, every week, where you're incorporating others in all of that. Yeah. So highly recommend. It's been a great practice for us.
Yeah, that looks really good. Yeah. Do you guys anticipate like having to do something like that structurally? I know you've done already some premarital, like what does it look like? Is one person more likely to glom onto the other? You guys both think you have healthy boundaries?
I mean, we've even had to not struggle through that, but we've worked through that even like as we just started dating and through dating and into engagement. But like that's a really good way to put it. Yeah, so like one way we would have to work through that is not necessarily set boundaries, but just have really good open communication about our expectations of one another. That what are we going to do Friday night when we're finally done with school? Like, what are we going to do after I have a soccer game? Like, so just different ways to kind of cope with different environments that we're in.
Yeah, I think too for like post-wedding when we're finally married is not, since we don't totally know what that looks like yet, so he could, just like both having different jobs, and when he's eventually in med school, like that time will be really important that we prioritize with one another. I think that structure will be helpful, especially when we first get married, and then also so that it can kind of become a little bit of a routine and more natural.
That's
so
good.
Yeah.
So that actually brings up, you mentioned boundaries. I think this is a good thing for people to think through too. What does that look like for friendships, past, present, coworkers, future, whatever, when you're talking about people of the opposite sex? How do you set those boundaries? What does that look like in terms of, hanging out with people, talking with people, coworkers, just being in your own space? What do you guys do about that?
Actually, we should have probably mentioned that earlier in the beginning, right? Friendships do change in that sense. And they should. I think that's a good thing. When you start dating someone, seeing them exclusively, pursuing their heart in a dating relationship, it's important that you do limit your emotional, spiritual, physical availability to those friends of the opposite sex. I think partially because that love for that other person you're pursuing is exclusive, and it's beautifully exclusive. But yeah, it does change. As far as boundaries, I think it's wise to be above reproach in that sense. I know some people take it really far as like, I'm not even going to get into an elevator with a woman. and that, hey, if that's a temptation for you, then that's a good boundary you should set.
Yeah.
But I think it is generally wise to not be carrying conversations too long. Ruth and I have some practices where even if a guy at church wants to ask her to come and serve or something, or to have a conversation about theology or something like that, I'm included in that text conversation. We try as much as we can to just be open and transparent about the communications we're having with the opposite sex, and that's just helped us and contributed greatly to our marriage.
Yeah.
It's been a great practice.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it sounds like that would save a lot of headaches.
It definitely does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a good discussion about this when we were kind of looking over the questions and stuff and talking through them. I've had really good friends who are girls from college, and you've had really good friends who are guys. before we started dating, what you would do, especially like that first year in college, you just kind of walk around like the opposite sex dorm, just go talk to people, try to like pursue like deeper friendship with other people, just kind of get to know people. But I feel like when you start actually dating somebody, it's like you remove that like active approach of trying to find like deeper relationships with friends of the opposite sex. Yep. And I think what you were saying is a really good point. Is like each person is kind of their own with it, like how much you're tempted or how much like you need to actually kind of set boundaries. Because for some people, then you need to actively not go into the elevator with another girl.
Yeah.
But for some people, it's like it's not that huge of a deal if you still have like friends who are girls, as long as you're doing that open communication with your significant other about that.
I think it just like, at least for me, it boils down to the fact that I don't care to have a friendship with other guys. Once I started dating Brock, like he became my best friend, and I have zero interest in being friends with guys in like a deeper way. Like I'm still friendly with guys, and I consider guys my friends. Like that's normal. Yeah. But I don't have any interest or need to like have those deeper conversations with them, or like you said, like have extended conversation, even if I'm just at the student center or something like that. And what was kind of interesting for our relationship is a lot of his guy friends were my friends, just because of the way that our circles were. So it was also kind of like his friends knew that I was dating him, and there was kind of that mutual respect there of like, you know, we're not going to have the same conversations maybe that we had before you guys were dating. So there was that mutual respect, but then it's also just the fact that like you don't really have a desire to anymore.
Well, it's interesting because, and this is kind of maybe has a little bearing on that. It's almost helpful. You know, I feel like there's so much ambiguity when people start dating. And like Emerson, maybe this speaks to the situation you were talking about of when you're in these friend groups, eventually you have to call something dating. Otherwise it's like, I mean, relationships have to change. There has to be a shift there. Otherwise it's going to be like, well, you like Ruth, but I don't know, these other guys may eventually ask her out too, or else no one's going to ask anyone out, and you're all going to be in this friend void indefinitely. So I think it is so great to have clarity about like, hey, we're all still friends, but now actually we're dating, and that's a different, you know, dynamic here. And what does that look like? And it is tricky because I think so many people say, and I'd love for you guys to respond to this, because this backs it up a ways. What about these friend groups where people don't want to date because they're afraid that it's going to affect the friendship, or it's going to ruin friendships or ruin the dynamic of the group? I don't know. I feel like this would happen a ton on a college campus of like, we're like a pack of 8 people. You can't start dating. That's going to disrupt what we have or something. I don't know. It seems like this weird, unattainable thing that gets awkward really fast unless you actually say, hey, this is happening and this is just going to change. Did you guys see any of that?
Totally.
Change is okay. I think that's what I wish I heard when I was in that stage. Of like, oh, I don't want to ask her out because it's going to ruin the friendship and this beautiful friendship we have right now. If she says no, it's over. Right. Or the other, the whole friend group's going to explode if I do this. Right. Change is okay. And even now into marriage, I wish I heard that change is going to happen in different phases of your life. So when you get married, your friendships are probably going to change. Even when you start dating, your friendships change a little bit. You spend more time with that person. When you get married, even more so, and your friendships are going to change again. Just like how you mentioned, you had to be intentional with those friends from high school. Inevitably, some other friends kind of dropped off in terms of communication. That happens in every phase of your life, and that's okay. Yeah. Because you're focusing on the right things, which is your wife now, which is your children when you have children, and that's all right. Change is okay. It represents maturity. It shows that you're moving in some ways in the right direction. I can understand the want to preserve friendship, a beautiful friendship, but I don't think we can. I don't think we can control some of the feelings that we get for the opposite sex, and I think, as it's said on probably every marriage podcast ever, clarity, communication, and transparency, I think are all beautiful things that eliminates confusion.
I would imagine, I mean, I want you guys to speak to this because I would think that on a college campus, it's especially pronounced because there might be the feeling of you're leaving us behind, like those who aren't dating or those who, oh, you don't care about us anymore. We're second-class citizens. We're not part of your well, hopefully they're not part of your relationship in that sense. But how do you navigate those feelings of you've hurt another person because you guys have called out something that's different than maybe what all y'all were doing as friends?
I think that's especially pronounced on our campus because we are at a really small school. And so when people start dating, word gets around.
Other people can know you're dating before you even know you're dating kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, the word travels fast and people always have things to say about it and opinions or whatever. But yeah, I think like, I don't know, like you said, I think that change is healthy and it's normal. I think that people who, get salty because you're hanging out with your significant other more now, I think that there's like some problems there because I think there's a line for sure. If you're only spending time with that person, then that's a problem and you're not investing in your friendships and there's an issue there. But I think that that person that you're in a relationship with, they deserve that time and they deserve that attention. And yeah, I think that it's normal for your friendships to change in that way, and I think they should. But it does come down to not only communication within your relationship, but within your friendships of being like, hey, if I'm, if you, as an outsider, if you see that I'm spending way too much time with Brock, or I'm not investing in the girls we're living with, or you just see me really absent from things on campus, I want you to call me out on that and tell me, because it's really hard to see that from the inside. So that's what I did with some of my friends, was ask them like, hey, if you notice that I'm, not around as much anymore, or if you don't think that I'm investing in the areas that I should be, then I want to know that, especially after seeing other relationships go in ways that I didn't want my relationship to go in. So just kind of asking my inner circle to hold me accountable and help me in that way.
And yeah, in my mind too, when you've told me about this before, that's like a really good opportunity for your friendships to strengthen in that way. Like when you start dating somebody, I don't think that means initially then you have like, okay, cool, you're my number one priority, all my other friends are second. I don't think you have to have priorities with that, maybe logistically with how much time you spend. But I mean, that was a great opportunity you had with your friends to be able to kind of grow in your friendship with them and openness and communication and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
And they do recognize, like, I think the further you get in your relationship, of course, like Brock becomes more of a priority to me. Now that we're engaged, he's definitely priority to me above some of my friendships. That's just the way it works. But I think, having that open communication with your friends is really, really important, and it makes them feel valued as your friend, because they're like, okay, even though they're in this really exciting new time and they're dating somebody, they still want to invest in me and they care about the time that we're spending together. And I think that goes a long way.
Yeah. Until you start medical school, Brock, and then she'll be like, am I even married?
Yeah, I'm gonna start dating medical
Where
school.
Where is this guy? And I've seen Grey's Anatomy, y'all. I know how this works
God.
out. Okay,
Yeah.
come on, this happens.
Very accurate.
There's like no one. People are just like hanging out, like in the break room, eating out of vending
during
machines.
surgery and
like
stuff.
no one.
Yeah. They're fine. They're asleep.
Okay, I'm not endorsing Grey's Anatomy, FYI. Okay, last quick question. I want a hot take from everyone, because I know we also talk a lot at Focus on the Family in our marriage department about the importance of maintaining your sense of personhood, and you're not going to get lost in this other person. They're not your idolatrous be-all, end-all. So just for funsies, what is something that, like, who you are, that this is going to be your thing? Like, it's one thing for couples to say, oh, I want you to develop an interest in this, or I'm really passionate about this, or whatever. But what's one thing that pretty much just is going to be your thing, and your spouse, or when you two get married, they're going to be like, this is a hard pass, you're on your own, this is something you're into, I'm not into it at all. What would you put in that category?
Do you have one?
I have one for you.
Oh, yeah, do it. Yeah, do it.
Legos.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I do love Legos.
I'm with you.
Yes.
Okay. And I love it for him. And I
I'm
think
currently
it's
selling
awesome.
them for
I
wedding
also love
phones.
that.
There you go.
I really love that.
Love that he's selling his Legos. Okay.
Yeah. Which we do it. We do it together sometimes, but
Okay.
it's definitely his
So you
thing.
obviously have whole things that can be built. Like, you're not just talking about random Lego collections.
It's absurd how much we have, me and my
Okay.
brother. So
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a lot. That might be something, that might have to be let go of a
Probably,
smidge.
yeah.
Or you and your brother are gonna have brother time. And they're gonna be,
yeah, there you go.
Clearly, you can invite Emerson
time.
because
I
he's
can-
really
that'd
into
That'd be
it.
awesome.
Always
Yeah.
down. So actually, on the Lego topic, I think Ruth would have said the same thing.
Okay.
But they
That's
have Lego
awesome.
flowers that are so cute, and they actually like the floral collection.
They also
And she
have
likes
real
them at her
flowers,
desk.
Emerson.
Yeah.
that are even
I bought Lego
But
ones for
Lego.
Lauren. I think she likes the real ones more.
Oh, fair.
Yeah,
But you don't have to
exactly.
water them.
Oh yeah, they're nice.
Anyway,
Thanks for the
they're
practical
fun.
application.
In case you want to know. But I guess you already. Anyway.
Okay, so it might be Legos.
It might be Legos for
For you.
Ruth as well. I, as a gamer, there's so many like nerd worlds that I'm a part of.
Oh, okay.
But she loves it as well. She's like big Harry Potter fan, all
Okay.
that stuff. So the two worlds kind of came together. And initially, this one like nerd world that I'm a part of, which is Warhammer 40K,
my
she was
goodness.
like, "That's the most man thing ever."
Okay.
And then I read the first few books, and I was like, "Hey, here's the first book if you want to read it. Like you like books,
Okay.
here you go." And she read it. She loves it more than
my
I do
word.
now. So give it a try. See, they love it probably for a reason. So I'm glad at least you tried Legos.
Yeah.
But more things will come up into your marriage where you're like, I'm so into this.
Okay.
For me, I think something I've tried to get her to like that she just hasn't quite enjoyed, I think, yet is Yu-Gi-Oh. So I'm a big like card gamer, the TCG world. And so that's something she's just like, I don't get this.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you do. You can have this.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Okay. Yeah, I have a friend who is a marathoner, and her husband is like, he's going to do a 20-minute workout. Basically, is his deal. And he's like, I will never run marathons. He would rather go and lift or do something like that. And so her training is her time, and that's her time to memorize scripture and just pray and do her own thing and all that. So I don't think those two worlds will ever cross with the two of them, but
That's
they make
okay.
it work. So, well, good thoughts, you guys. Thanks so much for weighing in on this stuff. This is
course.
really fun.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Thank you.